well as Jayden, my son. Is that okay? If you have anything in your mind, then let me know.
Absolutely, that sounds great. Hi, Jayden. Nice to meet you. We can talk about anything you both find interesting or have questions about. What's on your mind today?
Can we talk about magnets?
Of course. Magnets are really cool. What would you like to know about them, Jayden?
How are they supposed to stick together?
Magnets stick together because of their magnetic fields. When you bring two magnets close to each other, their magnetic fields interact, causing them to attract or repel each other depending on how their poles align. If the poles are opposite, north and south, they attract and stick together. If the poles are the same, north and north or south and south, they repel each other. It's like an invisible force pulling or pushing them together.
How can I make magnet?
You can make magnets by exposing certain materials to a strong magnetic field. Materials like iron, nickel, and cobalt are commonly used to make magnets. One way to do this is by rubbing a magnet against a piece of metal repeatedly in the same direction. This process aligns the magnetic domains within the metal, making it magnetic. Another method involves placing the material in a strong magnetic field for a period of time, which can also align its magnetic domains. However, making permanent magnets at home can be challenging and might require specialized equipment. It's often easier to purchase magnets that are already made.
Can I make magnet with the needle with the other magnet and scrubbing it?
Yes, that's correct. You can magnetize a needle by rubbing it with a magnet in the same direction several times. This process aligns the magnetic domains within the needle, making it magnetic. This technique is commonly used to create compass needles. Just make sure to rub the needle in the same direction from one end to the other with the magnet. This will help align the magnetic domains and make the needle magnetic.
When doing that, the needle magnet become the permanent uh, or not?
When you magnetize a needle by rubbing it with another magnet, the needle becomes temporarily magnetized.
Temporary.
It will hold its magnetism for a while, but over time, it may lose some of its magnetic strength, especially if exposed to heat or other magnetic fields. To maintain its magnetism, you may need to remagnetize the needle occasionally by repeating the process with the magnet. So while it's not permanent in the sense that it will last forever, it can remain magnetic for a significant period
After
with proper
the
care.
beeping sound, okay?
Who made the first magnet?
The discovery of magnets dates back thousands of years, so it's difficult to pinpoint exactly who made the first magnet. However, it's believed that naturally occurring magnets, such as lodestone, were discovered by ancient civilizations. The ancient Greeks and Chinese were among the first to document their observations of magnetism. They noticed that certain naturally occurring rocks, like lodestone, attracted iron objects. Over time, people began to experiment with these materials, leading to the development of artificial magnets and the understanding of magnetic properties. So while we may not know the name of the first person to discover magnets, their use and study have a long and fascinating history.
Alright, it doesn't matter for us to know who is the first person to found the magnet, but how about the magnet and the earth? How the earth has the magnetic something like north and south pole. Can you explain it to Jayden?
Sure thing. So Jayden, the Earth acts like a giant magnet. Inside the Earth, there's a hot molten metal core made mostly of iron and nickel. As the Earth rotates, this metal core moves, and this movement creates electric currents. These electric currents produce a magnetic field around the Earth. This magnetic field has a north pole and a south pole, just like a regular magnet. That's why we have a magnetic North Pole and a magnetic South Pole on Earth. The Earth's magnetic field helps protect us from harmful solar radiation and plays a big role in navigation, especially for animals like birds and fish, as well as for people using compasses. Pretty cool, right?
Ooh, thank you. I didn't know that.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions about magnets or anything else, feel free to ask. I'm here to help.
I want to know about the interaction between the electricity and the magnetic field. Can you explain it to Jayden? Because he's poor.
Of course, Jayden. When electricity and a magnetic field interact, something really interesting happens. This is called electromagnetism. When electric current flows through a wire, it creates a magnetic field around the wire. This means that if you have a wire with electric current running through it, it acts like a magnet. This effect is used in many things we use every day, like electric motors, which use magnets and electricity to create motion. Similarly, when you move a magnet near a wire, it can create an electric current in the wire. This is the principle behind how generators work, which help produce electricity that powers our homes and devices. So, electricity and magnetism are closely connected, and they can do some pretty amazing things when they interact.
How do you make the magnetism disappear?
To make magnetism disappear, you can do a few things depending on the type of magnet and how it was magnetized. For temporary magnets, like the needle we talked about earlier, you can simply heat it up or hit it hard enough to disrupt the alignment of its magnetic domains. This process is called demagnetization. For permanent magnets, you can also heat them up beyond a certain temperature, called the Curie temperature, which can randomize the alignment of their magnetic domains and make them lose their magnetism. Another way is to expose the magnet to a strong magnetic field in the opposite direction, which can cancel out its magnetic field and demagnetize it. So, there are a few ways to make magnetism disappear, depending on the type of magnet and how it was made.
I'm wondering the name of the truck or the device that used at the car crusher place, which turn on the electricity, then the device become magnet. What is called?
The device you're referring to is called an electromagnet. It's a type of magnet that is created when an electric current flows through a coil of wire, producing a magnetic field. In the context of a car crusher, electromagnets are used to pick up and move metal objects, like cars or scrap metal. When electricity is turned on, the electromagnet becomes magnetic, allowing it to attract and lift metal objects. This makes it easier to handle and process large pieces of metal at places like car crushers or scrap yards.
What is the strongest magnet in the world and the name?
Ah, I see what you're asking about now. The device you're referring to is called a crane magnet, or a lifting magnet. These are extremely powerful electromagnets specifically designed for heavy lifting applications, like moving cars or other large metal objects in places like car crushers or scrap yards. They can generate strong magnetic fields to pick up and transport heavy loads with ease. So it's not just any electromagnet, but a specialized type designed for heavy lifting tasks.
Okay, thank you for your question and answers. And I want to talk in a short sentences from now on. And my son Jayden has 10 more questions about the magnet, and we will end of our conversation.
You're welcome. Feel free to ask Jayden's questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Let's keep it short and simple. What's Jayden's first question about magnets?
Can magnets explode if there's two really strong magnet and few like they go together, so will it like break?
Magnets won't explode if they're really strong, but they can break if they're forced together too forcefully. Strong magnets can attract each other with a lot of force, so if you try to force them together, they might break or chip. It's important to handle strong magnets carefully to avoid accidents.
Can strong magnets break your finger?
Strong magnets can pinch your finger if you get them caught between two attracting magnets. It can be painful, but they're not likely to break your finger. However, it's still important to handle strong magnets carefully to avoid accidents and injuries.
Is there any formula or theory about the magnetic field and the radius between the forces?
Yes, there are mathematical formulas and theories that describe magnetic fields and the forces between magnets. One important formula is called the Biot-Savart law, which describes the magnetic field produced by a steady electric current. Another important concept is Coulomb's law, which describes the force between electric charges, and it can be used to describe the force between magnetic poles as well. These formulas and theories help scientists understand and predict the behavior of magnetic fields and the forces between magnets.
So, can you use magnets as shield?
Yes, magnets can be used as shields to some extent. They can deflect or redirect certain types of electromagnetic radiation, such as static or low-frequency magnetic fields. For example, magnetic shields are often used in sensitive electronic devices to protect them from interference caused by external magnetic fields. However, magnets are not effective at blocking all types of radiation, such as high-frequency electromagnetic waves like light or radio waves. So, while magnets can provide some protection in certain situations, they're not a universal shield against all forms of radiation.
I'm wondering, is the magnetic field safe, or it depends on the strength of the fields?
The safety of a magnetic field depends on its strength and how it's used. In general, low-strength magnetic fields, like those produced by household magnets or electronic devices, are considered safe for most people. However, very strong magnetic fields, such as those produced by MRI machines or industrial equipment, can potentially be harmful if not properly controlled. Exposure to strong magnetic fields can affect medical devices like pacemakers or metal implants, and can also cause other health risks if not managed carefully. So, while magnetic fields themselves are not inherently dangerous, it's important to be cautious around strong magnetic fields and follow safety guidelines to minimize risks.
Thanks, that's all. Bum, 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 bum.
You're welcome. If you ever have more questions in the future, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Bye.
됐죠?
엄청 잘했어 지금. 근데 나중에 이거 배운 거를 네가 잘 정리해가지고